How is ADHD different from ADD?
Well, ADHD is attention deficit disorder, but the H in there is hyperactivity, so attention hyperactivity, disorder. So you can have ADD or you can have ADHD. One is being inattentive without being hyperactive. The other one is being attentive with hyperactivity. You see more of the ADHD, more of the kids that have more hyperactivity than you do the other, but there's both. So.
Okay. Is ADHD more common in males or females?
I think so. I think I see it more in males.
Okay.
I do, from my experience, it's 38 years, but that seems like it's more in males, not as much in females.
According to the Center for Disease Control, ADHD is more common in males, with the number of boys being diagnosed at 13.2% and the number of girls being diagnosed at 5.6%. What happens when a child is suspected of having ADHD?
There's a couple different ways you can do it. Some people tend to go to a doctor, and some can go to a psychologist. My preference is they go to both, actually. Sometimes the doctor, they'll tell the doctor this kid's really, he's not attending, he's not doing well in school, he's having problems, and then they'll send him to a psychologist, and the psychologist will do a series of tests, and there'll be forms that they give the parents and the teachers. So there's a checklist that they give the teacher, a checklist they give the parents, and then they fill those out.
Determining if a child has ADHD is a lengthy process of interviews and reflection with professional help. A common tool used is the Conners rating scales. There are 3 of these scales, one for parents, one for teachers, and one for adolescents to reflect and fill out on their own. Each is made up of a list of behavioral questions, the longer version being 60 to 90 questions and the shorter version being under 30 questions. These should never be the sole determining factor when diagnosing ADHD. What can be done to address ADHD in the classroom?
Preferential seating away from distractions, away from noise, away from the doors, the air conditioners, so forth. Also could be seating closer to the teacher, okay, just seating. And if they're inattentive, oftentimes they're not on track, so it's going to take them longer to complete assignments. So one accommodation recommended oftentimes is extended time on activity. Sometimes using cues to help a student stay on task. So that's set up if I tap the student on the shoulder, that would kind of bring him back to focusing. Or if I tapped on his desk, or if I said his name, trying to get him back. So once it's diagnosed, there's some things you can do behaviorally in the classroom. Try to help them focus, give them a little extra time.
Other accommodations include praising good behavior, set up a social behavior goal and reward program, encourage cooperative learning tasks, assign special responsibilities to the student, review instructions and make sure the student understands the directions, conference frequently with parents and send home positive notes, place near the front of the classroom or near the teacher's desk, keep the schedule as consistent as possible, give one task at a time, provide extra time for tasks, and be clear and concise. What are possible treatment options?
Then there's this other option of providing students with medication. So there may be some controversy in that, but some parents are reluctant to do that because of the size of their body, feeling like affect them, side effects, make them drowsy, make them sleepy, make them not attentive, and so forth. So that's a tough decision. The psychologist doesn't make that decision, but he provides a report, they take it to the doctor, and a lot of these doctors are pediatricians, They're pretty good with this. So they'll look at all the medication, they'll look at the kid's weight, the size of the body, and then they may start them on a small dose of something. Concerta is pretty popular now. Back in the old days, there was things called Ritalin, but that is not being used much anymore. I think it has side effects. So there's a few others that they're using, but it's a big change. Kids just turn around, and we've seen a lot of kids that have been on medication are doing really good. They really are focusing more, and they're getting their work done, and they're behaving more at home in the classroom, and so sometimes that helps with which normally could be considered behavior problems. We don't force medication on anybody, and no one can, but we let the parents kind of go with the doctor on that one, because the psychologist can't prescribe a medication anyway, so they take the report to the doctor, and the doctor said, let's try this. And so we've seen some good effects, and we've seen some effects where kids are really drowsy and sleepy and they can't stay awake, so they go back to the drawing board, switch the medication, give them something different, change it up, and until they get the right balance, because they can see a change within actually a week or so.